you do eventually colonize Mars, what's the idea in terms of terraforming? Is it contained ecosystems that are under domes? Like what are you planning on doing to make it habitable?
Well, at first, you would have to have a life support system um, because Mars has a low density atmosphere, only about 1% the density of Earth, and it's primarily CO2. Um, Now, over time, you can terraform Mars. Terraform means make it like Earth, essentially. Um, and if you warm Mars up, you will there's a bunch of frozen CO2 that will evaporate, densify the atmosphere, and you'd actually want kind of global warming on Mars because
Mm.
Mars is about 50% further away from the sun than the Earth. So it gets about less than half the solar energy that Earth does.
And it's believed at one point in time Mars had a much different environment, right?
It appears highly likely that Mars had liquid oceans, albeit a long time ago.
And do,
There's a lot of ice, so Mars is covered in ice, um, and now the ice is then covered in dust for the mostly, except at the poles. So there's a lot of ice. In fact, I believe if Mars was warmed up, you'd have an ocean about a mile deep on 40% of the planet.
wow.
So it's quite a lot of water.
And do we think that it was like that at one
Yes,
point in time?
the evidence suggests that it is most likely that Mars had liquid water.
What's the prevailing theory of its demise?
Well, just over time, the solar system cooled. So Earth used to be much hot. Like in the very early Earth was like molten rock. Um, so really almost nothing could survive in the beginning. We were just a wall of lava. We're still mostly a wall of lava. Um, we're like creme brulee. Like there's a thin crust, and it's mushy rock under super very hot mushy rock underneath.
Mm.
And technically, that rock is in a semi-solid state, but as soon as it gets to a low pressure, like pops out of the ocean, you have a volcano, obviously, with lava.
Yeah.
So it's
Are,
at surface ambient pressure, uh, we're basically covered in liquid rock.
are you aware of
We're a thin crust on liquid rock.
the origin myth of the Dogon tribe?
No.
There's a tribe in, I believe it's a tribe in, I forget what part of Africa, but they believe that they came from Mars and that there was a
Okay.
civilization that left Mars, many, many eons ago. And it's it's a really weird theory because they know some things about Mars. See,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't come from Mars.
oh yeah, I'm pretty sure too. But I mean, it's I
Do they have any
wonder.
spaceships? If they don't have any spaceships, then I'm like, I don't believe it.
Well,
If like you do have a spaceship, I'll believe it.
if you parked a spaceship, how many thousands of years? If you parked a metal spaceship, like if you left a Cybertruck in the desert,
Yeah.
how many thousands of years do you think it would be there for, before it's gone
If it
entirely?
got buried in dirt, you'd find it even like a million years from now.
A million.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Well, what you'd
Because
find
it's stainless
is
steel, so it'd have to be some sort of an alloy.
it would it's kind of like
But iron wouldn't, right?
yeah but you'd have something similar to like fossils basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Oh,
fossils
okay.
they essentially discolor the rock. So eventually whatever the fossil is, and sometimes they're fossils like in amber or something like that. That's where it still does survive more or less intact. But I mean, there's fossilized like dinosaur fossils and tree fossils. That
Essentially remineralized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd see like a Cybertruck shape in the rock, basically.
Uh, yeah. But that's it. You wouldn't find the actual Cybertruck. So if they
No.
did have a spaceship and it came here 30,000 years ago,
Oh yeah. We'd definitely find it evidence of it.
hmm.
Well, not. I mean, if it was one spaceship, maybe not. But if it was a lot of them, sure.
That is the origin myth of the Dogon tribe,
It
right?
doesn't
Am I getting
say
that right?
Mars specifically. It's a hidden star in the Sirius
Oh, it's somewhere else.
system. Yeah.
You cannot be serious.
Sirius XM. It's just very strange when people have this bizarre origin myth. Like I wonder who was the first one to tell them they came from stars. And when we eventually do, I mean, how bizarre! Imagine if you're successful, we eventually do colonize Mars. And you're correct. Earth winds up through human folly or natural disaster getting wiped out. And there's only the colony on Mars. And that colony exists for 10, 20,000 years. And they have their origin myth that we all came from Earth. I mean, ultimately, that's going, if this does happen, you do colonize Mars and Earth does get destroyed, and if there a period of time takes place, like look at the period, like at least the conventional timeline of the Great Pyramid, which is 4,500 years ago.
5,000 years.
Yeah. So that's not that much time.
It's not that much time.
No, I mean, if
It's nothing on the galactic time scale.
right. So if we're talking 20, 30,000 years from now on Mars, and people talk about Times Square and what Earth used to be
Wow.
like.